I'm cooking for a big group of people, I want something that's simple, something I know will cook perfectly, and it has to have loads of flavour. So always turn to a side of salmon. So before you start to cook this, bring it out of the fridge at least 1 hour ahead of time, and also preheat your oven. For this, I want it to be quite hot, so it needs to be 200 degrees because we're forming a beautiful spiced crust on this. So we'll start with the first layer. We need oil, so a good glug of extra virgin olive oil. I want some sweetness, so to this oil I'll add just some honey, about a tablespoon or so. Give that a mix into the oil. And a combination of ginger and garlic. Now I've freshly minced some ginger and freshly minced some garlic. You can chop this, but I highly recommend using a fine grater just to get that consistency. We want that paste, and that right there is the best smell ever. I also want to add a pinch of salt to this because this is the first thing that's going to touch the salmon, and as you can see, it's quite a large piece of salmon. It needs to be seasoned correctly. And to a bowl, I'll add the red chilli. Now, this depends on your taste. If you want it really fiery, add quite a lot. I want it medium, so we'll just add a small pinch of that. I want a smoky flavour, so I'm using some paprika. I love paprika, and I also love how it stains the colour of our fish. So a good teaspoon in there. To this, I'll add some coriander. Now, I love to use coriander seed. Coriander seed has a really nice nutty, almost lemony flavour to it. So I've just crushed these seeds and they go straight in along with some cumin. And we want this to be almost like a spiced salt rub, so a good pinch of salt. Great. We'll just grab a spoon and give that a mix. That is absolutely stunning. Now to our fish, we'll start with our ginger and garlic mixture. I'm just going to pour that over the top. And we'll just spread that over so it's quite even all over the fish. And I have a large tray here that's going to fit into my oven. I've also placed a little bit of baking paper underneath. It's just going to make it easier when we want to place it onto our platter. Next, this gorgeous spiced salt, we'll sprinkle that over the top and just making sure it's quite even. All right, this goes into our really hot oven so we form a beautiful crust on this salmon. And for this side of salmon, it's going to take about 15 minutes to cook. If you like your salmon cooked well done, you just leave it in a little longer. Okay, while that's cooking in the oven, a little salsa to go on top of it, something quite fresh, avocado, coriander and chilli. So beautiful ripe avocados. I'm going to just cut them in half. And if you like, you could just use lots of fresh herbs on this, but I kind of like the creaminess of the avocado. We'll take the seed out, and I like to grab a spoon for my avocado and just scoop the half out. Flip it over, the other avocado. Look how gorgeous these avocados are, just right. And I want big, chunky pieces of avocado for this salsa. So just while it's sitting on the board, cut them into about 4 and then into big chunky cubes. On the other side, look at that, cuts just like butter. Again, into big chunky cubes. Great. This is now going to go into a bowl, and I'll add lots of lime. Long chilli, so I like to use a long chilli for this because it's sweeter rather than really, really hot. So I want to add that along with coriander. Well, look at this spiced crusted salmon. It is just divine. Now, here's the tricky part, getting it from this tray to the platter. There's a few ways of doing it. You can put 2 palette knives underneath it, or because I've got that baking paper there, what I like to do is carefully lift it. Now, I have allowed this to rest for about 15 minutes, so you can actually even serve this cold if you like. It's up to you. But what I like to do is just get underneath the fish, place it onto the platter, and just almost tickle that baking paper away and then slowly remove it. Ta-da! That's the easiest way to do it if you want to keep the fish intact. If it does break a little bit, don't worry, it's fine because you're going to be covering it with this delicious avocado salsa. That's that combination of lime, coriander, chili, loads of avocado, and that's it. Just keep it really, really fresh and simple. I've crushed it slightly, but not over the top so we can still see those chunks. And then we want a mountain of this creamy avocado. So we'll just top that salmon. And I would serve this just as is with some hot steamed rice if you want to make it a main, or place this onto a buffet. And I tell you what, people are going to love this recipe. It's healthy, it's super tasty with all those toasted spices. And just for a little extra, some olive oil over the top, drizzle that over. And another small sprinkling of paprika, just for that colour, on the plate and around it. Have a look at that. That is wow factor food that's going to impress a whole crowd.